Ever wondered what happens when a single smirk and a sly, yet, shatters the illusion of a perfect relationship, revealing a web of betrayal you never saw coming? Buckle up, because this story of cunning revenge and sweet justice will have you hooked from the first word to the shocking finale. Trust me, the twists keep building until you won't believe how it all unravels. You're leaping to assumptions. I haven't traded you in. Not entirely yet, she teased with that cunning smile just moments after I spotted her exchanging messages with another guy. I stayed silent. Just picked up my keys and walked straight out. She dialed me roughly an hour on, curious about my sudden disappearance. I laid it out plainly, simply stepping aside to let you chase after your fresh substitute free from my presence getting in the mix, and right then I severed every tie by blocking her outright. Greetings to all you viewers out there. Just before we plunge further into this gripping account, please take a quick second to hit subscribe on our channel and tap that like icon if you're craving more riveting tales brimming with unexpected turns exactly like this. We truly value it. Stay tuned all the way through, because by the end you'll uncover jaw-dropping secrets about infidelity, empowerment, and the ultimate comeback that could change how you view your own relationships. Plus, share your thoughts in the comments on what you do in this situation to keep the conversation alive. There's this unique type of quiet that descends once a relationship spanning half a dozen years crumbles apart from just one cutting remark. It doesn't bring any sense of calm, and it sure isn't wrapped in sorrow. Instead, it's the eerie hush of an entire framework tumbling down so utterly that not even a speck of debris remains to drift away. I'm Leo, holding down a position as a lead systems architect. My whole world revolves around sound reasoning, backup plans, and making certain that when any single element breaks down, the overall setup keeps holding strong without a hitch. I carried that exact mindset right into my bond with Anna. I figured we were constructing something unbreakable, like a solid stronghold. Turns out, all along, I'd been footing the bill for what amounted to nothing more than a fragile tower of illusions. Across those 6 full years, I stepped up as the main supporter. I don't throw that out there to sound boastful in some old-fashioned sense. It's simply the straightforward reality of how our daily lives added up. I pull in earnings that rank me among the highest earners in my industry. Anna, meanwhile, dedicated the past 4 years to shaping her image as a specialist in lifestyle guidance. Truth be told, that translated into me covering the hefty $4,000 monthly rent for our upscale spot right in the heart of the city, the payments on her premium sport utility vehicle, all her medical coverage, and practically every fancy dish she showcased to her crowd of 12,000 online admirers. None of it bothered me one bit. I truly cared for her deeply. Or more accurately, I cherished the version of her I'd fallen for back when we were both 23, crammed into that tiny one-room place that always carried the scent of budget takeout and big dreams ahead. I can still picture those late evenings where I'd pull extra shifts at my entry-level coding gig, all to scrape together enough for the high-quality camera she dreamed of using to kickstart her creative pursuits. Those memories stuck with me, along with the $18,000 payment I made without hesitation for her mom's knee operation a couple years back, funds I never once chased her for, even as her mother, Linda, regarded me with that same offhand indifference that Anna herself began to show over time. Yet as I advanced steadily up the ranks in my career, Anna ascended her own kind of hierarchy, one fueled by self-importance and the constant chase for approval from outsiders. The more I stepped up to handle everything, the less value she placed on it all. It began creeping in through little jabs during gatherings with our circle of acquaintances. "Leo's incredibly dependable," she'd comment while twirling a stemware filled with the vintage I'd selected. "He's basically like that trusty appliance that runs flawlessly day in and day out. You always know precisely what to expect from him. Can feel a touch overwhelming for a free spirit like myself. I crave that spark of intensity." Our mutual friends would offer up those uncomfortable chuckles. I'd brush it off with a grin, convincing myself it was merely her quirky form of affection. I overlooked all those warning signals since my schedule crammed with 60-hour workweeks left me focused on guaranteeing she enjoyed an existence free from any hint of monotony. The upscale fitness center sparked the real shift. She signed up for it, naturally using the membership tied to my name. And out of nowhere, Ryan entered the picture. Ryan styled himself as a fitness coach and budding health mogul. He clocked in a full decade younger than I did, sported a body sculpted through enhancements and endless leisure hours, and carried about as much charisma as a soggy stone. But in Anna's eyes, he represented pure thrill. I started picking up on the subtle shifts. She'd stay glued to her device deep into the early morning hours, that soft glow illuminating her features while she let out quiet laughs at incoming texts. Whenever I'd inquire about the sender, she'd fire back defensively. "For goodness sake, Leo. It's only Ryan. He's guiding me on my nutrition tracking. Not every little thing hides some hidden plot. Your constant doubts are truly wearing me down." It wasn't doubt fueling me. It was keen awareness. I noticed how her phone always ended up screened down on surfaces. I spotted the new undergarments she acquired that never made an appearance around me. And then arrived that fateful evening when the whole foundation gave way. It fell on a regular Tuesday. I'd wrapped up an intense push at the office and made it back around 8 in the evening, yearning for a simple meal together. There sat Anna on the couch, legs propped up casually, lost in her endless scrolling. She barely glanced my direction as I stepped inside. "Your food's chilling in the refrigerator," she tossed out in a flat tone. "It's that leafy green mix. I'm committing to this detox routine alongside Ryan. I suggested maybe we head out instead as I placed my work bag aside. I sealed a huge deal today. Thought it'd be nice to mark the occasion with you." She released this drawn-out, exaggerated breath. "Mark the occasion? Leo, you lock in those agreements constantly. It's part of your routine role. Hardly worth a celebration. Plus, Ryan is sharing some info on time-restricted eating, and I have to concentrate on that." Right then, her device lit up with a notification. A text flashed across the display, angled perfectly for me to catch a glimpse. It showed an image. Ryan without a shirt, captured in some changing area, paired with the words, reminiscing about our workout earlier. "Eager for the upcoming one," complete with a sly wink symbol. My pulse delivered a deep, deliberate beat. I approached and positioned myself directly before her. "Anna, what's the real deal with this Ryan?" She lifted her gaze at last, her expression tightening. No hint of remorse crossed her features. Only irritation. "I've explained it already, he's my coach. Quit lurking like that and invading my space." He literally just fired off a bare-chested shot mentioning a session with that suggestive icon, I pointed out, keeping my tone surprisingly steady even as a blaze ignited within. "Are you involved with him intimately?" Anna held firm without a blink. Rather, she reclined further, that arrogant, cutting smile stretching wide. She scooped up her phone and began composing a reply boldly in my presence. "Leo, you're blowing this way out of proportion," she drawled with pure disdain. "I haven't phased you out entirely. Not at this point." She even let slip a quick, biting chuckle. "I'm merely weighing my alternatives. Someone in my position deserves the top tier. Currently, you represent the safe bet, but Ryan brings that rush. Why turn this into such drama? It's not as if I brought him here to stay. Not at this stage." That repeated, "not at this stage," marked the ultimate breakdown. I stared at her, feeling as though a veil had lifted from my vision. Gone was the partner I'd shielded for 6 long years. In her place appeared a self-absorbed opportunist who viewed my existence and emotions as her personal amusement park. "You haven't phased me out just yet?" I echoed back. "Precisely," she affirmed, diverting her focus once more to the screen. "So go ahead and grab that greens dish to unwind. You're coming across as incredibly dull at the moment." I offered no comeback. No shouts erupted from me. No insistence on inspecting her messages. I pivoted calmly, strode toward the sleeping quarters, and collected my backup vehicle keys along with the emergency pack I maintained for sudden work travels. I secured my travel documents, my private computer, and the bundle of important papers stashed in the secure box. I made my way back across the main area. Anna remained oblivious, too engrossed in chatting with her supposed superior option. I exited through the entrance, slid into my ride, and headed straight to a lodging spot close to my workplace. Roughly an hour on, my device erupted with alerts. From Anna at 9:15 demanding to know my location. I felt like getting some Asian cuisine, but your plastic isn't processing. Did you tamper with the banking? Then Anna at 9:20, Leo, this is no joke. My stomach's rumbling and I have to cover a ride share. Answer me already. At last she dialed. I allowed it to chime thrice prior to picking up. Where on earth have you gone? She barked out. Her words carried more frustration than concern. I attempted to charge the meal service on the premium card and it failed. You'd better not be messing around with our money over some bruised ego. I'm settled in at the inn, Anna, I responded. My delivery came across detached, businesslike. The inn? Heavens, you're acting like such an over-the-top diva. Get back here immediately. We can discuss your emotions if you insist on behaving this childishly. But sort out the payment issue first. I won't be returning, I stated firmly. And I didn't meddle with the card. I simply revoked your access as a secondary holder. It's under my name alone, after all. One of those mundane administrative tasks I always manage. A pause stretched across the line. Then her pitch grew harsher. You have no authority for that. How do you expect me to get by? I'm simply granting you the space to secure your next option without my presence complicating things, I explained. Leo, hold on. Farewell, Anna. I disconnected and immediately restricted her contact. No lingering for further attempts. I sealed off every avenue of connection. The entire setup had imploded. The fresh start was already underway. Over the following 2 days, I operated in a mode of intense, laser-sharp determination. In my line of work designing complex systems, I understood that handling a tainted component meant wiping it clean without mercy. The living space topped the priority list. My signature stood alone on the rental agreement. I contacted the property owner, settled the penalty for breaking early, and covered the final trio of months up front. I brought on a premium relocation team and compensated them handsomely for an expedited job. I linked up with them at the unit come Wednesday dawn, aware Anna would be off training with Ryan. All around, evidence of my efforts contrasted against her extravagances leaped out. That $6,000 imported couch? Belonged to me. The massive 75-inch high-definition screen? Also mine. I observed as the crew broke down our shared existence in a mere 3 hours. I spared the primary sleeping setup, along with her wardrobe items. The remainder headed to a temperature-regulated storage facility where she lacked entry. Come 1 in the afternoon, the place echoed with emptiness. I passed the access devices to the security specialist, who wrapped up installing the last reinforced lock. Nobody else holds a key? I inquired. Only yourself and the property manager, sir. I placed just one thing right there on the kitchen surface. A duplicate of the notice ending the rental agreement, paired with a contact card for the storage place. Next to those, I included a $500 check, precisely the sum I deemed sufficient for her to secure a temporary motel stay over a couple of evenings. The barrage from her allies kicked off around 6 in the evening. With me having shut down all direct lines to Anna, she enlisted her mom, Linda, to step in. I picked up a single incoming call purely to establish the line I wouldn't cross. Leo? That you? Linda's pitch came through shrill and piercing. Leo, what's happening over there? Anna reached out in total hysterics. She mentioned heading back and finding the locks swapped out. Every piece of furniture vanished. Have you completely gone off the rails? Truthfully, Linda, I've finally come to my senses. I relocated everything. I wrapped up the rental contract. I'm done shouldering the burden for Anna's living situation. You have no right to pull that off. She's got zero alternatives. You at least owe her some shelter. Anna made it crystal clear she was out hunting for someone to take my spot. She labeled Ryan as her thrilling prospect, while I got stuck as merely the dependable fallback. I've chosen to pull that dependable choice right off the board, allowing her to dive headfirst into her vibrant fresh chapter without any holdups. The funding source has shut down, Linda. Should she require lodging, Ryan is the one to dial up. Farewell. I ended the connection and sealed her off as well. The ensuing trio of months turned into a textbook lesson on how returns kept shrinking for Anna. I didn't go digging for updates. Our shared networks proved tight enough that the repercussions washed over to me like gentle waves across still water. Anna had shifted into Ryan's cramped single-man setup, which turned out to be a modest one-bedroom he split with another guy. That so-called health business pioneer lacked even a vehicle of his own. He carried no emergency funds whatsoever. Ryan operated like an opportunist on the prowl. He'd zeroed in on Anna, assuming she embodied real wealth. Once the truth hit that she rode high solely on my steady, unexciting support, his enthusiasm fizzled out fast. In the meantime, I embraced that so-called unexciting existence fully. I stepped into an executive role at a firm located in a fresh town a couple hours distant. I acquired a top-floor residence overlooking the waterway, all sleek lines of transparent panels, metallic frames, and serene quietude. I dove into my professional duties. I explored trails on foot. I caught performances solo at local venues. I discovered the joy in tuning into my inner reflections, free from the endless undertone of another's perpetual complaints. The pleas resumed once Ryan predictably strayed on her. Anna resorted to anonymous messaging services. Anonymous text at 11:45 at night. "Leo, I beg you." Ryan laid hands on me. Nothing severe, but he shoved hard. The guy's unhinged. I'm holed up in a budget inn. I realize I threw those words out, but it was all to provoke some spark from you. Doesn't our half-dozen years count for something? Another anonymous note at 2:15 in the morning. Caught your professional profile update. Vice president level now? That's amazing. I'm genuinely thrilled for your success. Could we at least have a conversation? I'll commit to whatever it takes. Counseling sessions included. Please don't abandon me in this state. I scanned through them from my outdoor terrace, cradling a tumbler of aged 18-year whiskey. Not a single impulse stirred to swoop in and save her. When a structure gets slated for teardown over foundational flaws, you don't dash back indoors at the first sign of fractures. The ultimate push came via her sibling Dave. "Leo, she's falling apart completely, dude," Dave shared during our call. "She's floating the idea of some kind of payout from you. Claims you robbed her of her prime time and now owe her a clean slate." I let out a genuine laugh. "Dave, she's the one who declared me interchangeable. Pass along that she ought to have clung tighter to the reliable pick when it was hers for the taking. The handouts have ceased. Half a year down the line, I wasn't merely getting by. I thrived outright. I claimed a brand new dwelling, established fresh daily patterns, and above all, connected with a wonderful companion. Ava worked in structural design, intelligent, down-to-earth, and armed with a sharp humor that turned my straightforward reasoning into our mutual dialect. The annual Urban Design Honors event marked the pinnacle evening of the season. I held the spot as the featured presenter. Positioned close to the upper-level barrier, with Ava right at my side, radiating elegance in her rich green gown. "You're calculating the weight distribution on this flooring, right?" she murmured softly. I chuckled warmly. Honestly, my mind wandered to how much I'm enjoying this fine liquor. That's the moment I noticed her presence. Anna lingered near the entryway, appearing utterly mismatched in the setting. She sported an outfit I knew well. That shimmering gold piece I'd gifted for her special day 3 years prior. Some sparkles had come loose. She carried this drained, desperate vibe. Her eyes locked onto mine, and she started navigating through the gathering. "Your former flame?" Ava questioned. "More like a lingering specter," I amended. "Stick nearby." Anna made it up to our level, out of breath entirely. She paid Ava no mind whatsoever. "Leo," she panted. "Never imagined you'd show. You appear absolutely remarkable. Watched your moment up there." Overflowing with pride. I bragged to folks around. "That's my Leo up there. It's simply Leo these days, Anna. And my presence here ties to my role in this world. What brings you to this spot?" I'm attempting to weave back into these circles. "Life's been brutal, Leo. That one Tuesday haunts me constantly. Such a fool I was. Fear gripped me over the depth of my feelings for you. That's why I aim to create distance." "You didn't create distance, Anna. You outright announced scouting for my successor." "It came out as banter," she protested, her volume climbing. "Merely seeking some notice. Your job consumed you, and I craved proof of your concern. And look, you showed it. That confirms we've got a connection worth reviving." Anna, meet Ava. She's my soon-to-be spouse. The term spouse struck her like a solid impact. She literally staggered backward. "Spouse? Barely a year past, Leo. Engaged so soon? You truly did swap me out, huh? You upgraded to a fresher version without a thought." "I didn't swap you out, Anna." I leaned forward a touch. Replacing implies something substantial existed to begin with. You amounted to an illusion. Ava isn't some update. She's a true collaborator. Together, we're crafting a setup where neither carries the full load while the other hunts for superior alternatives. Anna's expression transformed. The fragility dissolved, giving way to that familiar, biting sense of deservedness. You believe yourself superior, don't you? She snarled. Poised there with your accolades and your companion. Deep down, you're that same lackluster fellow, Leo. Minus me, you'd linger in some ordinary dwelling, glued to schematics. I injected excitement into your world. Eyes turned our way, witnessing the unfolding disaster. Anna, I've simply ceased serving as your pathway. You'll come to rue this, she declared, furious tears cascading now. Once she tires of your data charts, you'll slink back to the sole woman who ever truly tested you. I haven't even scratched the surface of my capabilities. I savored one last draw from my whiskey and passed the vacant vessel to a nearby server. Gazing at Anna, I registered absolute indifference. Truth be told, Anna, I offered with a subtle, composed grin. You're escalating this unnecessarily. I haven't entirely detached from our shared past, not completely at this point. She paused in confusion. A flicker of optimism sparked briefly in her gaze. However, I pressed on. I anticipate wrapping that up fully by the close of these words. And there it is, concluded. You're now an obsolete framework, Anna. No further maintenance, antiquated, and fully excised from the present configuration. She remained frozen, lips parted, the golden flecks on her attire reflecting the illumination in a manner that screamed tacky and hopeless. Leo, I implore you, farewell, Anna. Savor the intensity. I'll maintain the equilibrium. I pivoted away from her. No pausing to check if sobs escaped or if staff intervened. I clasped Ava's palm and proceeded toward the grand hall. As we approached those grand doors, the MC's voice boomed powerfully through the sound system. And the prestigious honor for urban progress goes straight to Leo Vance. I stepped up onto that stage surrounded by a wave of enthusiastic clapping from the crowd. Looking out over the gathered faces, I couldn't spot her anywhere in sight. She'd slipped away into the shadowy edges at the far end, nothing more than a lingering shadow wrapped in a golden outfit that no longer suited her at all. Fast forward to the most recent update. It's been a full 3 months now since that intense encounter. Anna made one last frantic bid for attention. She sent over this extensive 20-page letter, all written out by hand directly to my job address. I barely glanced beyond the very first page. Straight into the shredder it went. Wise thinking always warns against keeping unnecessary junk around in a work environment. I got the scoop from Dave that she's landed a position handling the reception desk at a local vehicle dealership. Ryan, on the other hand, is locked up in custody these days. My everyday routine has settled into this beautifully simple pattern. I greet the day right as the sun begins to rise. I enjoy a warm cup of coffee alongside my soon-to-be wife. A lot of people out there see reliability as some kind of flaw or downside. But once you've carefully constructed a life that's this strong and resilient, that kind of dependability starts to feel exactly like true independence. The entire structure stands unbreakable. The underlying support digs in deep and unyielding. And the sweeping view from this elevated spot matches every detail of what I envisioned from the start. If you've ever navigated the pain of betrayal or rebuilt your world after someone shattered your trust, go ahead and spread this narrative far and wide. You're certainly not facing these twists alone. Have you dealt with a similar heartbreak from infidelity or entitlement in your own relationships? How did you reclaim your strength and move forward? Share your experiences down in the comments. I genuinely love to read about the lessons you've learned and the comebacks you've made. And if this story gripped you from start to finish, show some love by hitting that like button, share it with anyone who could use a dose of real-life drama and empowerment, and be sure to subscribe to Dark Infidelity Stories for even more riveting tales exploring the shadows of relationships, revenge, and redemption just like this one.